Brought a pen and a paper. No, it's pink. This is a pink pen. The hell's the point is a pink pen? Anyway, welcome to the Sunday service. It is Sunday. It is 2 p.m. and I thought that I was going to end up stopping these live stream things, but as it turns out, the amount of people who just came roaring at me going, you can't stop them. You started now. You have to keep doing it. You just have to keep doing the thing that they listen to them like a radio, which I find a bit unusual, but true nonetheless that people do actually listen to these things and watch along with everything that's going on. God almighty, you're off already. I won't stop, Aaron. I promise I won't stop it. It is live. I am live, Fernando. We're here. We're all here. It's Sunday at 2 o'clock. You too, Nick. It's brilliant to have you all on board already. I should have brought a pen. The only pen that's on the table is pink, so we're off. That's good, isn't it? Pink. Yep, it writes in pink. That's good. Well, sure, it's a pen. It writes, and that's all that matters. How is everybody this Sunday? How are you all doing? How has your week been? Have you gotten through it? Are you alive? Are you still with us and all encouraged to continue living further, which is great. It's the first Sunday I've done where I'm not actually going to work tomorrow. You too, Aaron. Have a good day. I am going to work tomorrow, but I'm not going to Midlands 103 work tomorrow. I'm going to what am I doing tomorrow? There's a launch on tomorrow. Skoda launch, I think. Skoda Kodiaq, I believe, has been launched tomorrow. Here in Ireland, it's already out. I was in the dealers ages ago. I saw it with my own two eyes, and I've sat on it. It's very nice. It's very good. The launch things, if people are asking about launch stuff and what happens at launch and all. Launches are meant to be only kind of an introduction to the car. You shouldn't really get the whole impression of what the car is really like. S.J. Powell, we got questions already. Yeah, right, okay, hold on. Now the weather's getting warmer, what's your view as a cool convertible motors? First of all, Ireland is a great country for convertibles, so is UK. If you have a convertible in Spain or Barcelona or France or something, you just get sunburn all the time. Welcome, Paul. You just get sunburned the whole time. No, it's not a Sunday. Well, I could give a Christian Sunday service if you'd like, but I'm not qualified to do so. Fiat 124 is one of my favourite all-time convertibles this year. Mazda MX-5 is what its parent car is, or brother or sister car. They're on the same chassis, different engines, same gearbox, I think. Same pretty much everything else. Fiat have made it just a little bit cooler looking, but the Mazda MX-5 still drives just a little bit better. But as a day-to-day car, a two-seater convertible, I would go Fiat 127. Or 124, sorry, 124. God, I hate the way those numbers. The Skodiaq, that Wiki Mama says it's Skodiaq. I am doing well, William Johnson. Welcome to the Sunday service. Ooh, there's a good few ways in already. We're only 3 minutes in and you're already here. This is a marathon, you know. This isn't like a sprint. We're not trying to sprint to the finish line here. I now have my kids going, can't come into the house during the Sunday service. Everybody's expecting the Sunday service. Don't like the Speedo layout. Do you not like the Speedo layout? I think it was alright. You don't really look at the Speedo much. The little two-seater convertible things, they tend to be best in Ireland, especially cloth top. If I had to live with a car forever, to be cloth top. There's something about being connected to the outside world through the noises around your head the whole time, which is really nice. But for driving day to day, for something that commutes to work every day, there's actually a fairly decent boot in most convertibles these days, particularly that one because it's a cloth roof, so it doesn't really intrude into the boot at all, which is quite nice. I'm putting together a movie at the moment, which I'm cutting. It's for myself. It's just a movie to make everybody feel better. And the theme of it is variety is the spice of life, which is quite a nice little movie that I'm making up as it is. The sun is not quite shining today as it was. Yesterday it was like 25 degrees. I think I might have got a bit of sunburn on my head yesterday, there somewhere, while I was down doing stuff. And also yesterday I found some old footage, which you can see is yesterday's video that went out. I call it found footage. But it's actually from a BMW trip that I did to the States in America, and I was rooting through tons of old footage last night. Some of it's been deleted, but some of it's still there. And I just came across this one clip where I have the camera's on a GoPro stuck on the outside of the car looking forward, and it's just driving in traffic in Texas, of all places, in America, where we go from traffic lights and things. It's really cool. It's quite a nice little thing. So just put it up raw as it was, rather than trying to edit the thing down like that. Cormac Cassidy says, get a motorbike, Bob. Can't get more connected. Correct. The only thing about a motorbike is I kind of like a roof, and sometimes I like to be dry when it's raining, which is quite nice as well. Today I can't pronounce your name, but today I went to a car show. What surprised me the most were the Alfa Giulio and Stelvio, the new Volvos and Kodiaq at a car show. Oh, alright, it's a modern car show, right? Okay, yeah, yeah. There's some beautiful cars coming. Absolutely gorgeous coming along the way. Wiki Mama says 25 degrees and sunburn. That's genuinely hilarious. Sorry. What considered a very hot day. In Ireland, our kind of mean temperature, it never really gets hotter or much colder. It never really freezes hard here. It never really gets that hot. I remember when I was a kid, the best temperature we ever had was like 32 or 33 degrees. William John, what happened to you in Independent.ie? My contract expired, William. That's basically it. I was on a 1-year contract to start up and get the motor section, the digital motor section of Independent.ie up and running. That was my brief for the year. I spent a year doing just that and left it at a very high point in its time, and then they've shifted their focus a little bit back towards newspaper and things. So a lot of the people who started around the time I was there have moved on to do loads of other stuff. A hell of a lot of them. Even other YouTubers like Claire Cullen, you know Claire Cullen, Clissair on YouTube. She's an Irish YouTuber as well. I worked with her. She was on Cannonball with me actually. Sorry, sip of coffee there. 45 degrees isn't uncommon during the summer here. Yeah, I know. I know. Look, I've lived in New Zealand where I can get up to like nearly 50, and it's like being under a bloody microscope, magnifying glass. What was a smoker's pack? Smoker's pack is still alive, Footy Ferrari. Smoker's pack is what you can still order it on most cars. When you're buying a car, you now have to specify a smoker's pack, which is a little thing for an ashtray and a cigarette lighter in the thing. That's where the name came from. Best new car to have in Ireland under 40k. I'll come back to that one. Hi Bob, I hear you're having issues with my account, so my question is how long are you going to stream? About probably 2 hours, moderator. I think it's somewhere around there. It's okay. A very friendly bunch on most of the time, so I'm not really too worried about moderation. But thank you very much for dropping in again. Don't worry if you have to drop in and out, you'll be fine. Best new car to have in Ireland under 40k. Under 40k. Depends what kind of car. Nearly every car, most brands of cars start under 40k, so there's quite a range of things to pick from in that respect. You'd have a hell of a variety of cars under 40k. Like the new Mondeo's under 40k. You can have I think you can have an Audi A4 starting at 38 or something, can't you? So like you're in that branch. Be more specific. Do you want an SUV? You want a saloon? You want something else? Protector of the Public. Hi. That's a really good little logo you got. That's the Roman laurels with SPQR in it. Very nice. I like your logo. Sorry, I was reading through my diary there, see what's coming up in the near future. Tomorrow is the launch of the Skoda Kodiaq, yes, and tomorrow I pick up the Kia Rio. Might pick up another car tomorrow as well, or not tomorrow, but during the next week, because I have more time now, of course, to get more cars into the videos. So my plan, if you didn't see the video that I put out 3 days ago or something, was that I continue with the 7-day contact. You all seem to like a video every single day. You don't all watch the videos every single day, but you do like them. I have the Volvo, whatever, XC60. Very good car, actually. And at the same time to bring out a 7th or 8th video in the week, which would be a longer, more like a 10-minute video looking directly at the car and only the car and not kind of vlogging stuff on the edge of it. So whatever you want to do, we can do that as well for the time being until something else comes along. But I'll try and do a video every single day. What do I think of the Kia Niro? The Kia Niro is a really good car. It's a hybrid car. Had it for a while. I'm iffy about the looks of the thing, because it does look a little bit strange. But it's still it's an honest car, and it does actually work as a hybrid. And I kind of like hybrid cars at the moment. They're going through a bit of a resurgence, we'll say, into being proper cars rather than being like milk floats. What would be the focus in a rough Sunday bash? What would Nick Coburn? What would be your focus of discussion in a rough Sunday bash? What's a rough Sunday bash? What does that mean? Focus the discussion. Don't care. Whatever people want to talk about is always good to me. You can always learn something from everybody. Everybody. Even people who seem stupider than you and smarter than you. You can learn something from everyone. Everybody's got something to impart onto you with knowledge. Say it Alteca with a 1 litre TSI. Really worth having at all. Not underpowered. Alteca. Or Ateca. That's a really good car with a 1 litre TSI. I can't imagine that. No, I don't think I wouldn't go that route. It's too small an engine. Really is for a big car like that. Paul Madden. Is the new 5 Series too conservative? Audi and BMW designers are barely changing the model design. Yes, Paul, I tend to agree. There's not a big enough step. And Chris Bangle kind of ruined us at some point because the car went sideways from where it looked as gorgeous looking back, that model of it. But the current model is like, I love this phrase that the designers put out to ensure their future employment, evolution, not revolution, which means that they evolve the car to be something else. You're right, car design right now is quite tired, but we do have a major problem with car design because a lot of car design comes from the NCAP rating and passing tests worldwide in aerodynamics. Because if you have a crash, you hit a pedestrian. Pedestrian is meant to hit the bonnet, not the windscreen. Windscreen has no give, the bonnet has give. So that donates the actual length, the minimum length of a bonnet straight away. And the distance between the windscreen and the bonnet, and all these sort of things. So a lot of stuff is actually kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to design. But at the same time, you're dead right, BMW have been a bit too conservative with the new 5 Series. A lot of electronic stuff they're going about. Stephen Carney, hope you're having a great day, Bob. What's the next car you're reviewing? The Kia Rio. Probably I'll drop in tomorrow to the Skoda Kodiaq video and have a look at that as well, just to see. I'd rather, Skoda's clever. It's very hard to find everything that's good about a Skoda until you spend a bit of time with it. So once I get it for a week, I'll do a proper review of the Kodiaq. David H, do you think, given that the XC60, that the Volvo V60 cross country is a wasted product? No, some people. So Audi have the bigger car and they have the all-road as well. You know, the all-road version of it, which is like, it's like a hatchback sort of off-road version of a plastic thing. It's the design stuff. Some people don't really want the big off-road looking car. They prefer to have the kind of smaller looking standard car. Stephen Carney, where is the Skoda being launched? I couldn't tell you. I haven't a clue. I haven't looked in the diary. I'll have to look up the email to see where it's supposed to go tomorrow. It's probably in some kind of a hotel. It usually is. What's the focus? Nick, the focus of Sunday service is just Q&A. You can ask anything. People have asked me stuff about religion, about health, about Ireland, about cars, about travel, about shaving. I'm going to ask one week as well. All kinds of yours come up, which I am shaved today. Look at that, isn't that good? That's really good for a Sunday. I'm very organised today. Adrian Hogan. Hi, Bob. You have mentioned that we tend to use summer tyres here. The fuel efficiency of all-weather tyres seems less than A-rated. Fuel-efficient tyres much more fuel-efficient than A, C or D. So, good question, Adrian. I actually have the fellas from Continental. I called them and asked them for an impartial advisor to talk about this kind of thing, about tyres and specialty about tyres. So, I think Continental are going to hook up with me and do a video about tyres and get it all done. So, that'll be pretty good. The big issue with tyres and fuel economy, particularly when it comes to tyres, is if you want efficient fuel economy from a tyre, you have to have less grip. Okay, that's kind of the one or the other. So it's very hard to get one without the other. So either you have skinny tyres and thin treads to try and get as much fuel economy as you can, or you have wide tyres with a lot of contact on the road to get more grip. So one has to be off against the other. It tends to be the summer tyres don't put up with temperatures. So the temperature makes a big difference as well. So when a tyre is cold, it has less grip. And so you have to adjust the treads to suit cold. So that's when it comes, in this kind of country, we have that problem when it comes to that sort of stuff. My God, it's just a huge amount of stuff on the screen there. What's going to happen with this government diesel tax and congestion charge, Bob? Where's it all going to end for us? Well, first of all, the government made an absolute balls of chasing CO2. I wrote letters to the government back in 2007, 2008. I wrote letters to the Green parties. I advised the Green Party at the time in Ireland to not chase CO2 as being the culprit of all of our problems out there. And now, of course, they find out it isn't the problem. It's not the problem. It's CO2, the sheer volume of cars on the road is the problem. So they want less cars on the road. So they want to get rid of diesel cars because they put out NOx and they put out all these other chemicals that give you lung cancer and brain cancer and all these other stuff. So they want to get rid of diesel cars. And that's why the diesel tax is coming. It's never going to end. There will always be something that's trying to get money out of your pocket. Are you going to, Ross Buggy, are you going to review any performance cars soon? I don't know, Ross. This is Ireland. We don't get that many performance cars in this Ireland. It's only really someone like Audi or BMW who bring along a performance car. The odd time you get a Cupra thing from Sailor or GTI. I have a GTI, I think, week after next or something. But big performance cars like Ferraris or Porsche doesn't really happen. Wave your hand. There you go. Wave my hand. Does that make the screen go weird when you do that? I'm still trying to catch up on all the questions. Hold on. William says, talking about premium brand car designs is one of my biggest gripes with them. I've always gone with Mercs, and the current range look exactly the same. Very annoying. There is a certain amount, William, of you have to be able to recognize the car in the dark with the lights off and take away all the brands. You still know it's a BMW or Mercedes, whatever it is, right? So an element of that goes on. So the family look, but unfortunately, because they used to hire a chief designer for each individual car. So say like a 5 Series got its own designer, and a 3 Series got its own designer, and so on out the way. Now there's this overall profitability end of things that needs to be there as well. So a 3 needs to look like a 5, and then there's recycling of parts, so you can use the dashboard from a 3 and a 5 Series or whatever. It's not just BMW and Piccoland, it's every car brand does this, particularly the budget ones, of course. Where was I? Sorry, I'm still catching up where I am. SJ Powell says, big fan of hill walking. Any experience, and if you can recommend a decent trainer shoe. Hill walking used to be one of my favourite pastimes. Now I prefer to run quite a bit. But yes, hill walking used to be gorgeous. There is Columbia make a really good range, and Berghaus those two companies make really good ranges of kind of walking shoes. I do recommend there's an element now of going towards these kind of off-road runners where you've got a scoop on it. A runner, so you got to scoop out like this thing, whereas the old one used to be boots, where you'd have a big kind of a boot to the top of it. I do recommend for hill walking, go with the boot end of things. Don't go with the kind of cutout ones, because the boot stops your ankle twisting on twisty rocks and paths and stuff. But certainly Columbia and Berghaus are my two favourite hill walking boot types, with a preference towards Berghaus to some degree. My God, I'm falling way behind with a lot of these questions. Oral-B versus Colgate. Whatever's the cheapest. Toothpaste means absolutely nothing. It's all in the quality of the brushing that you do, if you do it regularly enough. But Colgate, whatever's the cheapest, yeah. Oral-B is made in Newbridge, in County Kildare. Is the Octavia 1 litre 150 brake horsepower powerful enough for the size of the car? Yes, it is. I've been in it. It's quite nice. It's lovely to drive in general, but you will not get the fuel economy from that you will from a diesel version. Neither will you get it from a bigger petrol version, because once it's cruising, it's just like every other car on the road. So a 1 litre petrol car is really only for short sprint driving. So if you're doing very short runs from here to Tesco's and back, or whatever it is, shopping and things, it'll do fine. But if you've got a daily round trip commute of 100 kilometers, get something bigger. Greetings from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Ooh, cool. What do you think of the new VW R-Ton? Everything looks gorgeous on paper, David. Definitely. Most of these things all look beautiful on paper, or they wouldn't show it to you. It's as simple as that. They'd put it in the dark and light it weirdly. Until I actually see the physical car in the metal on a grey sort of November afternoon somewhere in Ireland, then you know it's a nice car. It's weird how that works. On a summer's day, everything looks gorgeous, But it's on the way. And great to have you on board from Thunder Bay in Canada. It was really good. Nick Corban says, ones without palm oil. Yes, we shouldn't be using palm oil and things. I'm sure there's probably a bloody good reason behind that, but I can't remember what it is right now. Dom says, thinking of buying a set, I'll take a 2 litre TDI or the new Kuga 2 litre TDI. What would you go for? I'd go to Ateca. I quite like that. Kuga looks a little bit weird still. And plus Ford don't seem to have a good direction on what they're doing. They seem to just be celebrating 100 years. And I don't really, they've got like a Mustang, they've got Mondeo. I kind of forget about them when they're out. And the Kuga's not a bad car, but the Ateca just hedges a little bit. I quite like that car. What's your opinion on run flats? Stephen, these things are really good when you've got a puncture. When you're actually driving and you want to go somewhere, the difference between run flats and driving, kind of normal driving tires, is stark. It's quite remarkable, particularly when you get out of a car that has run flats into another one. But there is a modern run of run flats that are doing pretty good, and they seem to do a lot better at the moment. Hi, Darren Kavanagh from Tullamore, which is not very far from where I live. The modern run flat is a lot better than the ones we'd say from 10 years back. The ones we used to all give out about quite a bit. So modern run flats is okay, but older ones are crap. What camper van of the future, Bob? What camper van? Volkswagen California. I still go back to the California camper van, and I'll tell you why the California works so well is because it's just the size of a normal van. So you can park it in small towns, you can get into narrow areas, you can get around into people's yards, you can park up on hard surfaces, park on soft surfaces. Yeah, it's small, but when you think of what you have to do with the bigger camper vans, and you'll often see the bigger camper vans parked in like a Tesco's car park or Lidl or Aldi or something, and then there's bikes on the back trying to get people into town. So the California is very good, but if you have any more than maybe, if it was 4 adults, no, ain't going to work. Sorry, hold on a second. Trying to read everything here. Would you not review some second-hand performance cars? Maybe odd subscriber loaned you these cars for you. There is some second-hand cars coming. Look, a few days ago we had one next week actually. I think I'm filming that on Wednesday, which is a Lancia Beta. So we'll be reviewing some nice cars coming up as well. But we'll see about performance cars. But who's going to buy them? Like seriously, seriously, the best-selling car in the bloody country is a Hyundai Tucson. It's not like a performance car. Do you think manufacturers will continue to downsize their engines? Porsche have been admitting that have been a waste of time. Yeah, they'll have to downsize. They will, because the only way to get better CO2 emissions, but lower NOx emissions, all that sort of stuff, is to make them smaller. And then, they're cheaper and they're lighter as well. David Reid, hi Bob. Opinions on the 370Z. Think of getting one that's half decent sports car, daily driver. 370Z is one of my all-time favourite machines. But it's a GT car, so just remember that. It's a Grand Tourer car. It's not meant as a track car. So the 350Z was meant as like a drift car. It's crazy, mad joke, and it just will scream and roar all day long. The 370Z is much more of a surgy car, so it surges along and drives quite nice. It's a really nice car to drive around every day. It's not really that noisy inside. It's actually got a boot. You will fit people in it as well, which is all right. So it's pretty good. If you can pick up a second-hand one, David Reid, look out for a second-hand one. You'd be surprised. Just watch though. But the 3.7 litre petrol under the bonnet will put up with an awful lot of punishment, so I wouldn't worry too much about the condition of it. Wow, there's a lot of new people here. Hi everybody. Keep going, keep sharing, click like, share, and that sort of stuff, so everybody knows this is happening. Can ask all the questions you want. Would you say it's harder to tell when there's something wrong with today's cars because they're well insulated and disconnected? Yeah, generally people aren't as good as they used to be about telling when something's wrong, but you can kind of figure it out. If there's something wrong with the engine, it either won't start, it won't stop, or it won't accelerate. And that's kind of all that happens with an engine. So if it can't do one of those, there's something wrong with an engine. If there's a squeak or a rattle or a noise or a scrape or whatever, it's probably the braking system. So, these things aren't particularly hard to work out. You just have to know what you're looking for. Ken McNaughton, good day from Sydney. Good man. Any plans for reviewing the new XC60? Probably my next car, the new V40 warranty expires next year. You're talking about the XC60 that's coming, not the one that's on outside my door at the moment, which is the current model of it. I'm quite a fan of the current model. It's a very manly car, very heavy steering. But there is a new XC60 coming, and when it gets here, I will certainly be interested in reviewing it. James McDermott, but I wouldn't change a V40 to an XC60 is a big step. Why would you not go XC90? Is the Lexus CT200H a good car to drive? Is it economical on fuel? James McDermott. No, none of them things. It really isn't. CT200H is one of my least favourite cars, I think, in the last few years. I can't think of another one that's as bad as that. I'm not saying it's bad. No, it's bad. It's bad. It is. It's not good. Electric camper van. Yeah, I'm okay with any fuel source as long as I can get where I want to go. That's all that matters. Stephen Carr, I would agree that modern run flats are a very expensive. BMW quoted my dad, 700 quid for 2 front tyres. 700 quid for 2 front tyres and alignment is not expensive, Stephen. I'll tell you that right now. That's 350 quid a tyre. That's not very expensive. For safety wise, it's not. And for run flats particularly, because they tend to last a long time. Hi Bob, would you suggest buying a new or a used car? I would suggest buying what you can afford and what you are willing to put up with, because a brand new car means you are the owner. You are responsible for everything to do with the car, and it's fabulous, and you've chosen. You can choose your options, you can choose your seats, your colour, your wheels, your tyres. You can choose the lot. Used car means you got to buy what's in front of you, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, then you're in trouble. No real lemons out there right now, so you buy to your budget. If you have $5,000 in your pocket, buy a $5,000 car. If you have $5,000 in your pocket and you're earning $50,000 a year, finance the rest. Okay, that's just the way it is. Don't kill yourself with finances and all that sort of stuff. Buy what you can afford. Peter Bevan says, in the UK, Citroën provided a 3-year manufacturer's warranty on the Citroën C4 Picasso, but in Australia it's 6 years, so the warranty is a mark of reliability or is extended to break into new markets. A little of both there, Peter. Warranty can be a very funny thing. Mitsubishi offer an 8-year warranty in this country. Nobody seems to be paying any attention to that at all. because I'm sure they're worried about where Mitsubishi Ireland will be in 8 years, which is probably playing on their mind. Kia offer a 7-year warranty. Kia Ireland are in the same situation. Who knows where they'll be in 7 years? So it's very hard to get people into a new car when they think about reliability. It's easier to make a car reliable in a dry country like Australia. I'm not talking about the monsoon season that you get out there, but I'm talking about in the general dry humidity of the area. In Ireland, we get a lot of wind and rain and miserable weather and grey stuff and sea, and we've all this stuff that goes on as well that eats cars, so the warranty tends to be a lot less here. I think we've only got a 2-year warranty here on some cars, where they're 3 years in the UK. So warranty is very country specific. I would look at the terms and conditions. Often the car is warranted head to toe for the first 2 years, then it's only engine and gearbox for the next 3 years, then it's only the engine itself after that. So warranty can be a little bit weird. What are the older 2010 Audi TT like? Yeah, they're alright. Audi TT never did it for me, to be honest with you. It's okay, but it never really, it's particularly the inside, it's too much like all the other Audis on the inside. Just nothing's different. It's the same, which kind of annoys me. In that I'm buying a kind of a sports car and I want something different, and then you get in, it's just an Audi inside, which is kind of annoying. Bob, do you like American muscle cars? I love them. I love American muscle cars. My dream car would be a V8 big block. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely adore American muscle cars. They're dumb, they're thick, they're like big horses. They just go from place to place and do it loudly and noisily, and they just gobble up everything. So you'll never really kill the environment on a V8 muscle car because you run out of fuel long before that happens. Hi Bob, it's Mark. What do you think? It's Mark McDonald, sorry, hi Mark. What do you think of the Toyota Avensis petrol as the next car for me, as I'm a single man? You're a single man. Do you want to stay single? Because the Toyota Avensis will make women run away, or men for that matter. It's a family car. It's a very nice car, don't get me wrong. It's a really nice, pleasant thing if you're a family man, but you're single. Like, go out and buy something a little bit fancier than that. I'm sure if you can afford a new Avensis petrol, you'll be able to afford a GT86. There's another Toyota if you fancy the Toyota end of things. Mr. Instrumentals, what do you think of the C63 AMG for me for third car? What's the other two cars you have? Explain to me what they are now before you go worrying about C63 AMG. Brilliant car, C63 AMG. I have no problem with that. Great noise, fabulous. It's a little bit crazy at times, but it's great. But the other two cars would matter. So if you're going to drive a C63 AMG every day, what's the other two cars? Darren Kavanagh, what do you think of the Volkswagen Golf GT Sport GSG? Is that to buy? Sport DSG. I like DSG. I like a Golf GT, and a good GTI. Yeah, they're really good cars. Golf is totally dependable, will be completely reliable. It'll stand outside your door forever, and you'll never have a problem with it. And you'll always be able to sell the thing as well. Someone will always buy a Golf, even if the market was flooded with them. Alan Harmon, hi Bob, what's your opinion on the Skoda Fabia Monte Carlo over base Fabia? Monte Carlo is a spec model. It's a nice spec, but I think there's quite a walk from the standard model to the Monte Carlo model. But you do get different wheels, different seats, and somewhat different interiors, some extra little bits and pieces. So it's physical differences rather than more electronics thrown at you. There's more bits inside it. If you can afford it, Skoda Fabia is one of my favourite cars ever. If you can afford a Monte Carlo version, why not buy it? Why not treat yourself to it? But you could always spec one up with the bits that you actually like from scratch. Exactly the same thing about Kia in Greece. You're talking about warranty there. What do you think of the Lotus cars? Do you think the model would refer as electric Lotus? Electric Lotus. I try not to think of Lotus. Old Lotus are gorgeous. After that, it's very hard to they're going to break. 100%, it's definitely going to break down. Every other Lotus I've ever even been near needed a heated garage just to get it started. Cormaca, there's a long-time, old-time viewer. Hey Bob, what do you reckon about the sway against diesels in the UK government? How do you see diesel playing on here? We always follow what the UK government do. So absolutely guaranteed we are going to go down the route of trying to get rid of diesels. The problem is that 96% of the Irish market and fleet that's out there right now is diesel. And so to get rid of it, it'd be like trying to bring in Irish water all over again, trying to get rid of diesel. So it's going to take a long time. But with Brexit happening and our imports going to slow from the UK if Brexit happens properly, we are going to be in trouble here if they start to really go against diesel. The big problem is air quality from diesel. We do need to clean up the active diesel. We do need to stop disconnecting DPF and all that sort of stuff. We need tighter fuel emissions, or tighter emissions coming out of the back of the cars. They are going to cause problems, but you know, that's just the way life is. Welcome to environmental crap. But we can't go back, we have to go forward. Go right away back up here. So many questions. The company importing Kia and Hyundai went bankrupt and it is in a weird state going to another company. What is? Oh, this is Greece we're talking about. Okay, so Kia and Hyundai went bankrupt in Greece and is in a weird state. So you're trying to get warranty stuff in Greece. Warranty stuff in any country is a problem if the car company doesn't exist in that country. Okay, so if you bring what is available, and I've seen them second hand here, Perodua, for instance, you can bring them from the UK and bring them here. Getting a warranty claim here from a Perodua is going to be a problem because they don't exist here as a company. So that's immediately an effort. My first car is a BMW 330 diesel E46 model, and second car is Skoda VRS. Well, then you'll have no problem with the Mercedes AMG C63 because you've got a normal car to drive there in the 330 diesel and in the Skoda VRS, but you will have great crack, absolutely great fun driving that Mercedes as compared to the other two. Hi Bob, what do you think of the Jeep Renegade? I like them, but my wife hates them. What's wrong with your wife? Get a new wife. The Jeep Renegade's a gorgeous car. You've got the wrong wife. That's the problem there. Hey Bob, love your videos. What is your dream car? You need to change your huge pen. You need to change your username there real quick. My dream car is a Volkswagen California. Or a BMW 640 diesel, which I still quite like. That's all I can think of at the moment. Lots of dreams. Maybe an Alfa Romeo Giulia, but only the Cloverleaf version. Disregarding reliability, which would you buy, a 2010 Golf GTI or a 2003 BMW M5 V8 manual? Oh, hold on now. Let's sit back now for a minute. That's an old M5. I'd buy the M5. Definitely buy the M5. Yeah, M5. Unless if it's the only car, if it was the only one I could have, like I've only got one car garage, it would have to be the Golf GTI because you're not going to drive an M5 every day, that's for sure. But if it's not the only car, if it's just something I have hanging around the place, then definitely got the BMW M5. Lotus, lots of trouble, usually serious. That is true, William Johnson, you're dead right there. Do you like the BMW i8, Bob? Love it, although it hasn't aged well in the last couple of years. But I do love it, yeah. I love driving it, I love the attention it gets. It is a supercar, kind of, but it's quite nice. It's cool, the doors are cool, all that sort of thing. Are Japanese imports still an option, Cormac? I don't know, actually. They used to be a massive thing here. Yeah, they are. No, they are. The Japanese tried to put a tax on, if I remember correctly, because we drive on the same side of the road as them, so they've got the steering wheel on the same side. But I think the Japanese tried to put a tax on special cars because we were basically eating all of the Supras over here, Nissan GT-Rs and things. We're just importing them directly out of the way. Definitely, I've seen plenty of websites with Jap imports on them. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely, Mr. Instrumentals, go get a C63. You will never ever look back again in the rest of your life. VW Passat owner here was hooked on your channel since watching your VW CC review, seeing how much you love driving that is in that day. Yeah, still, another fella on the fella came up to me in the shop the other day and said he bought a car because of that video, and he showed me the video on his phone. He looked it up before he came over to me. So yeah, CC video, I still like that. I'm still waiting for the new CC as the one that come. It better be good. Do you think the Alpha 4C is in any way a deniable car? Not a hope, Ross. Not unless you've ear defenders constantly in your head. It's really noisy, it's really loud. It is brilliant fun. You cannot park the thing. There is no power steering. It is really light, but you will not drive it every day. But you will have absolutely the best fun of your life. I think it only weighs 850 kilos, which is really, really light. That's like five of me, or I don't know, 10 of me or something. It's a lot for a human, but it wouldn't be much for a car. But it's good crack. It is a very, very good car. Buy it in canary yellow and you will smile for the whole day. Will there be any new models of the i8 coming out that aren't the range a bit naff. How will peeps overcome these issues? They'll just have to put in bigger batteries. We need new battery technology. It is coming. Nissan has put in a long range extender version of their Leaf, so the battery technology is moving, but it's not moving fast enough. That's the problem. Ever consider a short back and sides? What's this then? If it's not a short back and sides. But yes, if you give me a free haircut, I'll come to your place and get a haircut. Bob, what do you think about the new Audi design line? A4, A5, I have an Audi A4 2009 B8. Right now, I love this thing, but it's time to move on. And a new one, I'm not sure I like the new B9, A5. I like the A5 designs. I think the design of the new A5 is probably the prettiest out of the range. The biggest problem for Audi and the biggest problem for purchasers that I hear back is that when you go to a dealership and you see the Audi A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8 and beside each other, that you can't tell them apart. That's the front. That's just the way the front is. Audi only seem to bother designing the back of a car. And only when you go S-line models does it actually really stand out. So the problem is that they're not, there's no remarkable moving on from Audi in terms of design, and yet they're the most profitable arm of Volkswagen and everybody seems to buy them. I don't understand how that works. But Audi A5 is one of my favourite designs from the Audi group. I think it's a really pretty car. The current one, which is videos from like 2 weeks ago, I think I had an Audi A5 on the channel, so definitely check it out. Father Flavin, hey, I like it. Father Flav is here for the Sunday service. Bless you all now. Sorry, I'll be sacrilegious now, and it'll be taken down for me. I'll be reported for being sacrilegious. Looking like Tintin. I don't know what that means. Father Flavin. Yeah, that's great. Yep, you're totally right. They all kind of look the same. Yes, that's the problem for any car company, is how to make every car look a little bit different, but how to make sure that the accountants aren't breathing down your neck for making something that's totally different. Toyota got around it by buying the GT86 off Subaru, and putting a different exterior to it. So it just saved a packet of money for them straight away. Jap stuff flew in here back in the day, and the government over there had laws whereby engines had to be changed at a certain mileage over emissions, so they exported them instead. Crazy, but it's true. That is absolutely true. That's why they had to get rid of them. You just had to get rid of the car. It was the quickest way. What would you recommend for between 25,000 euro? That euro? I don't know. 25 grand is right bang in the middle in Ireland of basically every car in the market. Everything is up to 25 grand, and 25 grand and beyond is kind of the benchmark. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Bless you, you're grand. Truth hurts should just be destroyed. Are push bikes on the road a problem, or are drivers a bit overcritical? That's a really good question, Mike, because I was cycling yesterday. I went for a cycle around Portlaoise, nearly got mowed down about 4 times in a space of 1 kilometre. Generally speaking, drivers believe that they can squeeze by a cyclist, and cyclists believe that they're entitled to more of the road than is probably safe. And somewhere between the two of them is the truth of the matter. We all share the roads. Whether a cyclist pays tax or not, a cyclist has to cycle on the road. In Ireland, there is a law that forbids cyclists from being on the footpath. So we have to cycle on the road. But the problem is that a driver believes that they need to squeeze by, encroaching in the driver's space or going over the white line just to get around the cyclist. Cycling, we not just need cycle lanes, but you need to go and look at Holland. Go to Amsterdam and just see how cyclists behave there. It's chaos, but it's very, very manageable chaos, and it works. And the cyclists have absolute carnage when it comes to what a car can do and where a car can go. Everything has to be shared. I had a test drive in the Civic 1.5 turbo, 180 brake horsepower, nice and rapid. Yeah, I like Civics. I love the magic seat. Only kind of Honda owners know how things work in a Honda, which is kind of cool. You really need to spend a long time with a Civic to realise how things work inside them. Hi, after owning Audi, I bought a Seat Leon ST-FR after seeing your review. It was a brilliant move. Was it a good move? It was a brilliant move. If I said it was good, it was definitely the right move to make. It'll be brilliant. You'll be fine. Yeah, Seat Leon ST-FR. They're a really good car. That's a nice, fast, rapid thing, and they're subtle enough. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't worry. It's the best move you ever made. 2015 VW Golf R or 2015 BMW 535 as a daily driver. If you want proper performance at Golf R, if you want something that's more long range, that is a subtle performance, the 535. I don't. The current model 535 doesn't feel as rapid as the old 535. I don't think. You know the one, the Chris Bangle one from say 2003 or 4 or something. That felt like a rocket ship. The modern one today feels like a very slow surge. But they're nice. But I'd go with Golf R on that one for a daily driver. Cyclists need to work, earn more money and buy a car. Bloody arsewipe in my humble opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that one. I would suggest that cyclists is the way of future when it comes to the way we behave in cities, because you can fit 50 cyclists into the space of one bus easily, and they can all go wherever they want to go. I mean, look at the cycling system we have in Dublin right now where you can hire the bike. It's the most successful one ever in Europe, where you can hire a bike in one part of the city and drop in another part of the city. It's a genius plan. It's a simple plan, but cycling has to be part of what we do. Human power, we emit nothing. We clean up the roads as we go along. It's perfect. It's a perfect system, cycling, but we just don't pay much attention to it. Magic seats aren't in the new Civic, and a fabric parcel shelf. David Thompson, what are you saying? There's no magic seats in the new Civic? Burn the Civic! No. If there's no magic seats, I wouldn't go near it. As simple as that. The old Civic was brilliant. You could flip up the seats, you could drop the seats down. It was brilliant, brilliant system. I haven't driven a new Civic. I have to get around to it soon. They keep emailing me, ask me to make a video of it. I will go up and get a Civic and have a go of it. And if there's no, I don't like the look of it, but if there's no magic seats, that's going to be a big problem. Doran says Romania with lots of love hearts. VW Sharon, best family car. Yes, I would probably agree with that. A Sharon is like the pricier version of the, what's the Seat one called? Alhambra, that one, which is also the same car, just a little bit cheaper. I cycle to get fit. I have 2 cars going on 3. I'm the same. I have cars. I love a bit of cycling. I do a lot of running, but I kind of started a bit of cycling because it hurt me back again running, so a bit of a problem. Hi Bob. Tempted this morning for some strange reason to buy an SL350 from 2003. SL350. I know it. I can think of it now. Yeah. I think these are a bargain for the price of a second-hand Golf. Don't mention the tax. Yeah. Well, look, Patrick. Tax is tax. You know, you have to. Yeah. You have to pay tax. But you're right. SL350. If I remember correctly, if you're my age, remember Bobby Ewing driving those cars in Dallas, which is quite nice. Really, really pretty car. I would buy that. And I'll be up to it during the week as well, by the way. That bike hire thing is great. It is brilliant. I think that's brilliant. Literally, just pick up a bike one end and then jump in and go. Here in North America, after the VW scandal, there are now a big push for hybrids. Is that happening in Europe too? Yes, it is. Hybrids are currently the way forward because we don't have a proper good structure. Like if I want to get an electric car in Dublin and drive to Cork, I will need to stop for 5 hours in the middle of it to refuel the thing, right? So it just doesn't make any sense. So a hybrid makes a lot of sense in that respect. Sorry, I had to ban something here. Hold on a second. A hybrid makes a lot of sense in that respect because you can continue moving onwards, just burning petrol, and then use the hybrid part in the city. And hybrids are getting a little bit more cute as well. So yeah, there's a massive push here in Ireland towards, in Europe, towards hybrid and electric cars. Every cyclist I know already has a car as well, so rather a flawed argument. You're correct, Stuart. Generally, most, even professional cyclists will have them. Like I know Richie Oakley from the Sunday Times. I know Richie for years. Richie he'd be a very avid cyclist. I mean, very avid cyclist, but he's a pure petrol head as well. And I know loads of guys like that, like near professional cycling level guys who would be massive petrol heads all the time. I use my bike hire Maggie here in France, and it's great, but the weather at home isn't suitable. Yeah, well, you know, there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just inappropriate clothing. That's kind of the way it is. Why can we no longer buy the Accord in the UK? Yeah, I know the Accord, a Honda Accord used to be a great car. I actually seen one the other day, a 2002 one, big saloon, boxy looking thing drive by me. It's a really nice car. I don't know why they don't really. I know the UK don't particularly like saloons. Saloons don't do well. That could be something to do with it. Plus, Honda really don't do that well in the UK outside of the Civic for any car. And the same in Ireland. It's the Civic really keeps them going. It's the bicycle rant. Here comes all the little weirdo, scumbag, strange people. We're just here for the crack people. If you want to take part, take part. I'm fine. I can answer any question you like. But, you know, if you're just going to write stupid racist stuff up the screen, you're just going to get banned. What's the point, like? Anyway, now you were on the electric car topic. Are there any Opel Amperes in Ireland? Do you own an Opel Ampera? No, I don't think there is. I remember being on the international launch of the Opel Ampera, and briefly I was the fastest moving electric car in the world because I was on an autobahn going absolutely flat out and not with electric power, and it was brilliant. But the problem was, it was 50 something grand here, and it only has 4 seats and a very small boot, and so it didn't really work. The Chevy Volt and Chevy Bolt should also come over here as well. The Bolt looks interesting in fairness. I saw some guy reviewed it today, some technical guy reviewed it. What happened to the Laguna in Ireland? Laguna died of death. Renault just got rid of it. That's just all that happened. Because the Megane is available as a saloon, a hatchback, and an estate, and so the Laguna made no sense because it's the same thing. Nick says, I had a Honda Jazz Hybrid. Honda Jazz Hybrid. That'd be a very clever car. Lovely. Why stop production? More economical than my Toyota Yaris Hybrid, but big battery, a cleaner option. Why don't Toyota achieve higher MPG? Thoughts on Yaris Hybrid? The problem for Toyota was they went through a period of making very light interior cars, and the Yaris is one of them. So when you get in, it feels very plasticky, it's very light, and so Prius then is looks remarkable, and I suppose in some way it doesn't look great, but it's still one of my favourite cars. And so if Toyota would make the cars feel a little better on the inside, I think they would do better when it comes to the Yaris. But yeah, Yaris is a fine little car. I can't read that because it's in French and I don't know what it says. I can't understand this cyclist versus motorist. I raced for years on bikes, so I can tell you that they are the biggest petrolheads. Yeah, most cyclists that I know of are some sort of freaky petrolhead thing. Have you driven any Tesla? If so, what do you think? I have driven a couple of Teslas, not from Tesla, by the way. So Tesla, if you're watching this, please just give me a set of plane tickets there over to UK and I'll drive some Tesla cars. Or do something here in Ireland so we can do some, whatever. Look, until the Model 3 comes out, I'm not really that interested in Tesla. And I'll tell you why. They're really good at PR. Right? They're really good at PR. Just incredible at it. They're not the first at anything. They tend to tell you everything that they're doing all the time. That's the problem. They tend to go, look, we can drive our cars are self-driving, our cars do this, cars do that. Most other car manufacturers are on the way to that, and they're getting there, but they're just not telling you about it. So, look how quick Google just went, here, self-driving cars, forget it. And the same for Apple, tried it as well. They've all tried it. They'll all die at that. Tesla's going to be a difficult sell. They're nice, and I kind of like the iPad-y thing, but they're not for drivers. We'll see when the Model 3 comes out, see what happens there. Here in Canada, most change to winter tyres. I take it in Ireland, no need to do, you guys travel all year round. Yeah, we do all season tyres here, but a lot of Europe does have winter and summer tyres. I know parts of Sweden, Denmark, Poland, parts of Germany are required by law. There is actually a fine if you don't change your car or change your tyres over from winter to summer. We don't have that law here in Ireland because we're big tick paddies and we'll just drive on bicycle tyres if necessary. Will the Tesla Model 3 be as good as folk think? Mike, if it isn't, it won't sell because it's pointing directly at the people who buy things like a Ford Mondeo or a VW Golf or something. It is pointing directly at those people. So if it's not good, it's not going to happen. But you will get a few people who have too much money and just go, yeah, Tesla, I want one. That's it. David Reed says, I'm a freaky petrolhead. Congratulations. You can't get a cream to cure that, but you can get an itch from doing that as well. How's it going, Bob? I'm on a bike ride. Good man. Thanks, William Johnson, for dropping in. What's your option about BMW i3? I love i3. i3 is made of donkey jackets and weird recycled plastic and stuff. There's a lot of effort goes into the way the i range of BMW is made in the recycled materials and new materials that they have put into it. So i3 is one of my favourite, but the one I drove had the little motorbike battery in the boot, which was or motorbike engine, in the boot, which is a really clever little thing. But there's like a $5,000 option here, which is not cheap. You might as well buy a bloody motorbike and tow it around behind you, same thing. But i3 is really nice, yeah. Yeah, Tesla. God, just phone me up, man. Come over, I love you. How did Volvo get away with claiming such high MPG figures when they are never get close? My old V50, you should have got 70 miles, anywhere close. So the way the rules are is they have to quote MPG at its best. Now that has changed recently in Europe. Europe has changed the laws on that, so they have to quote more like real figures. So what they used to do, and Volkswagen, they were all complicit in this, they would take off wing mirrors. They would tape up the gaps between, anywhere that air could get in to slow the car down. and then they would drive along at absolutely consistent 50, 60 kilometers an hour and do nothing else but just, you know, take out seats, make the car lighter and all sorts of stuff just to make these MPG things, these figures come out. A lot of crap. Most MPG figures are crap. But, you know, you gotta take some sort of solace in the fact that I try and quote MPG figures, and they're always real ones, the ones I get. Top Gear gave a Fiat 124 a right kicking a few weeks ago. How did you find it? I thought it was a grand car. It's a nice car. What's wrong with it? It's a copy of the Mazda MX-5. In that Fiat are a bit cheap, but in that Fiat they're being very sensible in that they're taking a decent chassis, a decent gearbox, a nice running gear setup, a rear-wheel drive system, and slapping in one of their own petrol engines into it. I don't really have a problem with it. Top Gear just up their own holes most of the time when it comes to whatever car they want and whether they like it or not. Depends on how much money they want to spend with the BBC. You're the best. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much, Elson Alian. Thank you. It's Bob, not Bill. But yeah, when are you getting your hands on a new Honda Civic? I didn't like to design it first. I'm going to ring up Honda. They offered me a few weeks ago, but didn't have time. I'm going to get a go on it. I don't particularly like the look of it. I've seen a few. There is a Honda dealer here in the town, so I've seen a few around the town. But I don't. I think it's a bit space agey to some degree. It's a bit too Japanesey, if that's a word. Maybe a bit too manga. You know, in a manga sense of things. Fiat 500 goes like shit off a stick for a little car. Go out and buy an Arbath Fiat 500 and it does go very fast. What do you think of the Hyundai Iconic range? 5-year warranty. I'm happy with a 5-year warranty, but I'll tell you what, the Iconic does a little bit weird. I don't like those kind of closed grille thing on the front. It looks a bit strange, but 5-year warranty. Look, there's not hardly any moving parts in an electric car. You're hardly going to need a 5-year warranty. With the rise of hybrids, death to diesels now. What do you think? Yep, diesels are definitely on the way out. It's an expensive fuel to make. It's not as fuel efficient as people think it is. Even though you get better MPG, you tend to buy a bigger engine anyway. But you just can't squeeze the CO2 and the NOx out into anything useful. But you can with a petrol, and you can with a hybrid, and you can with electric. The old Mazda 323 was a little nice front-wheel drive, very light. It was too. Mazda 323. Remember when the Mazda 323 was a Ford Fiesta? It was they just changed the badges from Ford to Mazda, which is kind of cool. Americans are rich, but they drive Hondas, Toyotas, Mazdas, and interesting. They're not really rich, Turkish girl. There's plenty of poor people in America too. They do have a bigger choice of cars than us, in fairness, and they tend to buy Japanese because that was the precedent set in the 1960s when they had a petrol crisis. They had very little petrol out there. Most cars were doing 12 and 13 miles to the gallon. They couldn't afford it, and a Honda Civic came in and wiped the nose with 40 miles per gallon. So people tend to buy Hondas and Japanese cars. And Americans stopped thinking of them as Japanese cars or as Korean cars or whatever, and now they think of them as American cars, which is kind of strange. What do you think about direct injection engines like the Mazda Sky Active Petrol? The MPG on those seems somewhat achievable. They're more realistic when they say about the MPG, but they're still not as fuel efficient as some other cars I've seen out there. Although Mazda gasoline engines tend to be very, very reliable because that's what they specialise in. Honda gasoline engines are the same. They tend to be incredibly reliable. I can remember when the Honda the MD came out to announce they were doing a diesel and looked so disappointed with doing a diesel engine for a Honda. He only wanted to do gasoline, and he was right. You know, we're going away from diesels again, but as petrols go, the MPG is it's going to get more real world. It will. They'll have to do it because there's so many customers out there who complain after buying a car and go back and go, oh my God, this car does nothing like it said it was going to do. David Reed, with the 370Z, what MPG did you see in it travels? The best part about a big engine car like a 370Z is when you're sitting on the motorway, it ticks over. It's doing like 1200 RPM. It uses basically no petrol on it as it is. I did 500 kilometers on a tank of fuel in the 370Z. Mixed range stuff all over the place, up Wicklow, all kinds of things. So yeah, MPGs are always better on bigger engine cars. Well, nearly always better. Why don't we make cars lighter? Nick, a good thing to look at would be the difference between an Alpha 4C, which is probably the lightest of these cars you can buy on the market, and a car around the same weight, but with a different power to weight ratio, is something like a Seat Mii or a Skoda Citigo or something, where the cars weigh relatively the same, but one can go really, really fast and the other one goes really fast. That's the problem. There's the problem is when we make cars light, they're hard to drive. You have to take things out. We want cars to be incredibly safe, and when they're incredibly safe, they're incredibly heavy. that's kind of the way it has to be. To get rid of that one, sorry there. Have you an interest in watches? Yes, if you look at my channel, I asked you to use to review watches, but it just became too difficult to do all them videos. I do like watches, yeah. I'd like an Omega Seamaster, but I definitely don't have enough money for one of them. What else do I like? I kind of like Casio watches. Currently, I have a Garmin watch on, which just monitors my running, which is the thing. But it's actually really nice and pleasant to wear. It's a Garmin, I forget what it is, a 310 or something. Only if they tell the right time in British summertime. I don't know what that's in relation to. Well, horse. Obviously an Irish guy living in Australia. Well, horse, fair play to you, Bob. You're going well. Ha. Thanks. I can't read your name. Stu, well done. Don't you Irish talk fast? To be sure. I like to keep you occupied, to see. If I talk fast, you don't know what I'm talking about, and that's brilliant. I know, my best. Do you want a hard border? No. I can remember the hard border as it used to be when I was a kid. I can remember it being there. It's not a pretty thing. It's not a nice thing. I remember taking a train to Belfast and it was boarded by a pile of soldiers. And they walked down the train and they were asking people if that was your bag, is that your bag, and you open your bag. They were looking for bombs that time. That was really scary. And I got onto a bus to go to the ferry. I was going to Scotland via train and then ferry. This was Northern Ireland. I was on a bus and this bus had to pass through these checkpoints. And again, these guys got on with sniffer dogs and it was all very dystopian. It was terrible. I don't want that back. No, that's absolutely dreadful. Sorry, huge amount of questions went up the launch screen there. Have you ever loved a car which is absolutely awful? If so, what? No. If a car is awful, it's awful. I wouldn't go near it. I am from Ireland, originally from Kildare. Moving home in a few months. Does anyone know what the stipulation about getting a garage insurance policy? Garage insurance? If you own a garage or you work in a garage as a salesperson, you can get a garage insurance policy. But if you're not, insurance has gone. Bad news for you. Insurance has gone through the roof here. My neighbour up the road there said to me the other day he was quoted. He's just home from overseas. He hasn't had insurance in Ireland in 5 years, and he was quoted €1,900, and he's 53. So it's like driving his whole life. €1,900 seems crazy. Thailand, well done. What's your daily driver? The press car, whatever's outside the door. Have a say it lay on 1.6 petrol as well. An old one. Price of gas in Thunder Bay, Canada is $1.10 Canadian dollars for a litre for regular gas. What price of where you are? I have one petrol here in Ireland is 128 or 130 euro, I think, or 138. I forget now. I think it's 128 euro, €1.28. You can do the conversion yourself. I love fast talking, straight to the point. Come on, David. See, everybody, you're all keeping up. Well done. There's like 72 of you watching at the moment, so well done. You have to be the de facto car guy YouTuber in Ireland, Bob. Well done. Thanks, Cormaca. I'm trying my best to be as much as I can. Do I speak any Spanish? No, not really. No. Say español is about as far as it goes. Un café, por favor. What's the crack with biodiesel, Bob? Biodiesel kind of died a death. I don't follow the Premier League. No, I don't follow any football-y things. Biodiesel kind of died a death. Volvo tried their best to get it going. But the problem was the UK, this happened in the UK, not in Ireland, but in the UK, if you wanted to generate biodiesel, they seen the loopholes. People were going to chip shops and taking the old oil out for their diesel cars. And so if you wanted to make your own biodiesel at home, you could, but you had to pay a tax to the government. And of course, everybody gave up then once you had to pay tax. And so they put everybody out. But you could literally go, you could still go down. If you got some of the really older diesel engines, you could still make your own fuel for chip fat, because the diesel engine was actually invented to run on peanut oil, not on diesel. Diesel was a person, by the way. That's why capital D should actually be used when you're talking about a diesel engine car. But it was actually a fella's name called Mr. Diesel. But peanut oil was actually quite hard to get, and so they changed over and started running on diesel. What's your favourite American thing? Star Spangled Banner? Don't know. Favourite American thing? Car, like? Don't know. Ford Mustang or something. I don't really, it's not that I like Ford F-150s and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, any of those kind of big engined, stupid, brute force cars are always a bit of fun. There aren't any mergers of car companies. It's a business 2.0, or is collaborations holding us back? Well, if you look, Mike, carefully at the moment, Peugeot, Citroen are about to take over Opel, which is on the way, I think. Which would suit their parent company GM nicely, because they get a cash injection to start paying some bills and get some stuff out. But it means that Opel over here will be part of a bigger group, which is very hard to deal with. Mergers in car companies it tends to be hostile takeovers. What happens in car companies, they don't, because mergers means they're going to share some tech, so they make agreements to share tech, like Renault Nissan alliance, where they share the tech between the two companies. But they tend to just buy each other out when it comes to the rest of the stuff. Jamie Oliver special. I'm not doing a cookery show. Everybody keeps asking about this cookery thing, because a couple of weeks ago I said I was cooking a chicken for the dinner. I have to cook something today as well. I don't know what I'm going to cook today. I don't know. Bob, going to Killarney from Belfast this Saturday. How's the road after Dublin? Do you know what's here's a great trick if you're using a sat-nav. Really good trick. It doesn't matter what sat-nav it is either, right? So when you're leaving home, enter your destination, but enter it to the first stopover point. So go to a big petrol station or something, get a cup of coffee, go back in and reset your sat-nav and untick to use toll roads and motorways. Take both of them off, right? And then tick the most economical route, and it'll take it the most wild and wonderful way you've ever seen. It does it every time. It's just good crack. What's the best car you reviewed so far? Any tips for guys who want to start doing car reviews, not only on YouTube? If you want to review car reviews, how I started doing it, I can always tell you how I started doing it. I don't know how other people started. Some other guys started because they got a boost up, or because they like it, or because they asked me for contacts or whatever. But if you want to start reviewing cars, it's a chicken and egg scenario. Car companies will not give you a car unless you've got an audience to go with it, which is why a lot of new people will jump into a current publication, right? So they'll jump into an existing publication. They won't try and do something on their own, because it's impossible to get the cars to do the reviews. So what I did was, instead of joining a group, I started my own YouTube channel, my own website, and I went to car dealerships, and I got a lot of second-hand cars. I started to review them. And then it didn't take very long before car companies came to me and said, we want to be giving you cars for review, and that's how I got them. So start small. You don't have to start at Ferrari, okay? So, get where you want to be first, and then scale. I like to test for real world stuff, not kind of going off to try and get yourself the latest GTI or something. Okay, so that was especially for Carmine. I can't pronounce your last name. Start with used cars is the first thing, and write about them, learn about them, absorb them, understand your subject. This is why I can sit here for 2 hours and talk about cars, and I don't look up a single book, right? Any American influence in your country? Carlos, the biggest influence we have in this country was always America. It was huge, a massive influence. Things like baseball caps, even our language here has changed to suit Americans. We are the sponge of Europe. We sponge up other places and make them our own to some degree. So a lot of Americanism happens here over the years, but not American cars. They don't tend to come here. There's advice from Richard, great for Gasman, who's coming from Belfast to Killarney, if I remember correctly. It's a good motorway as far as Limerick. From Limerick to Killarney, it deteriorates a bit, but mostly wide roads. Adair can be a bottleneck. Adair is a lovely place. I was down in Limerick a couple of weeks ago, actually. There's a video on my YouTube channel about me being in Limerick. What do you think about Trump's decision to send missiles to Syria? Honestly, that's a tough question, because it's a hard one to assess what's actually going on there. Trump is in a bit of a panic, I think. His popularity has failed over the last while. People who were outwardly Trump supporters are now inwardly going, God, he's like an embarrassing lump of orange thing up there. And they're all a little bit scared, because nobody knows exactly what he's going to do, whether he's going to bomb this or bomb that. It seems like someone he's just trying to show that, I'm going to look after this thing, but it's done nothing. The airfield was just bombed. It's just a bomb to an airfield. Like, America needs to calm down a little bit. That's the problem. Is you've got this huge person in there who's out there bullying the whole world, and no one knows how to approach him anymore. That's what you get, what you ask for, though. That was especially for Carlos. Thanks, Carlos. Chameleon Miller says, yeah, Mustang, if you're willing to get to a gas station every day and spend your life savings on gasoline. Well, they're never meant for a daily driver. They're only meant to go out for spend the weekend, Bob, reviewing the new 5 Series. I did a short video of one on Mondello Track a couple of weeks ago. I do have a 5 Series on the fleet booked in. I will be reviewing it very soon, and I guarantee it'll be a long video on that one. Right. Anyway, it's very hard to get spare parts for Mustang in Eastern Europe. Go on to boards.ie in Ireland and ask the guys in the motor section on boards.ie how you get stuff from Ireland over here, because we have tons of Mustangs here in this country for spare parts. North American loves their cars making too many cars on the roads. Are there too many cars in Ireland? Yeah, there is too many cars in Ireland. Although it's not as bad as England. I was driving in England recently, and I'll be back in England next month. I think I'll be back in England next month, or the end of this month, something like that. So I find everywhere you go in England, even on the smallest little tiny B roads in the back end of nowhere, there's always traffic. I don't know how that works. The only place I found there wasn't traffic was Dorset. I was in Dorset once, it was quite nice. But that was it. It was very strange. But yeah, there's a lot of traffic in Ireland. A lot. But you can always find a quiet road all the same. What about this LaFerrari thingy? My mate loves it. Why? You can't buy it. No one's going to own one near you. You can't drive it. What's the point in liking it? For a pin up on a wall? So what? Who cares? It's Ferrari. You'll never drive the thing. And if you do, you'll be just very lucky. You'll experience it. You'll have fun. And then you'll move on. And you'll forget it ever existed because you're not allowed to buy it. Don't forget, Ferrari is the only car company that I can ever think of who chooses the owner. That's just so pretentious. My God. It's just ridiculous. We're only going to make 500 of them. Why don't you make 1 million of them and charge less money? Hondas go at diesel engines was good. You drove it down the old Civic. Yeah, I love Honda diesels. I don't have a problem with Honda diesels. I just remember that the MD of Honda standing on the stage going, "We've made a diesel," and he looked about as excited now as a wet fish. He hated the idea of making diesel. I know a mechanic his name. I met him once. Diesel is on its way out. Yeah, it has to be. There's no way back. A big fan of your videos. I make vlogs and movies on my channel. Can you please give me a shout out to subscribe? That is Rana Sandeep Singh. He makes vlogs seemingly. I cannot guarantee what is on his channel. If you find 2 dogs doing weird crap to one another, that's not something I've recommended. I haven't checked his channel out, but you know what? He seems like a nice guy because he called me sir. So yeah, check him out. He does vlogs. How is the motor industry in Ireland doing? It's on its bleeding knees, Dwayne. No, it's not. Massive setback. This is now January, February, March, April. We're in the 4th month of the year, so a massive setback for the car companies this year. They really got a kick in the ass when it came to new car sales, but used car sales are doing okay. Mainly because I drove by a Toyota, not Toyota dealer, he's a Hyundai dealer the other day, and he had 11 Hyundai iX35 standing outside the front door of the place. Not a single new car to be seen at the front of the entire premises. All of them had been brought in from the outside world. So the motor industry is consistently in trouble here all the time, and they never get a break. But the consumer never gets a break from that goddamn taxes we have in this country. We never get a break from them. Every time the government want more money, they put more money onto the motor industry to get more money off us. Do I worry about North Korea now? No. The only reason I'd love about North Korea, I'd love to visit it. It's going to be gone soon. It will be gone. And it's a unique little part of the world that just existed in its own little vacuum for so long. And I'd love to go and visit the thing just to explore and meet the people and talk and understand their psyche and because it's going to be gone. Inside 5 years, North Korea is going to be gone, and we'll never have known what it was about, what drove it to be what it is. So I'd love it. Stockholm terrorist attack was shocking. All Western countries at risk now. Scary stuff. It's hard to police these attacks when vehicles are involved. These are rare incidents of panic that the media makes sound like it's something that's going to happen every day. You all have to mind ourselves, don't have to worry about ourselves. Look, this will come. This is a time of flux. We're in a time of flux in the world. Things will get back to normal again. Things will come back the way it was. The internet has caused a huge flux. We would have never heard about those kind of attacks when I was young because we didn't have the internet. The BBC TV didn't report on it. It never really happened. So stay calm. Stay here in the head. Worry about yourself. It's not probably never happen to you. It'll probably never happen near you or happen around you. Consider your own mind and your own body and stick inside yourself and try and figure out what you want to do with your life. Don't worry about Stockholm. That galvanizes people. we cannot. The only reason the terrorists will win is if we worry about them enough. If we show them that we're worried about them, they've won. And I can tell you, I'm not worried about them. Shit happens, so get over yourself. My God, there's so many questions now. Hold on a second, I'll get a drink. Hi from Morocco. Hi Morocco, how are you? You should do daily vlogs. Do you have another channel? No, I don't have another channel. I don't. I kind of do a daily video. So there's a video every single day on the channel. They're not always vlog stuff, okay? Because my life is kind of boring anyway. So why would you worry about vlogging things? M3 or Julia? I thought that's hard to say. I would go with M3. Maybe. Julia's gorgeous though. God, that's so nice. No, Julia. I go Julia Cloverleaf. It's funny how people try to buy electric cars to save the environment, but hydroelectric power actually fucks up the environment much more than fossil fuels. For example, China gets electricity from coal. But there's no way back. We can't go back to putting diesel. That's just the same problem, just removed. We need to focus the energy companies. We need to demand energy companies create renewable energy for us to use in our cars. Cars are dying. The combustion engine is coming to an end. We have to accept that and move on with new versions of combustion, of transporting ourselves around the place. We need to do it, and if we don't do it, it's going to be the end there for Chameleon Miller. China will catch up. China has spent, do your research, the last 3 years China has replaced most of those coal for hydroelectric, so it has to be done. England equals roadworks everywhere. Yeah, that's true, David Reed. Absolutely, everywhere you go, in the back end of nowhere, you're going to come across some sort of roadwork and little wombles standing around with their little yellow jackets. Could you review the latest S-Class? Ross, I would love to review the S-Class. Mercedes put one on for about a week and then it was gone and they just sold it. I don't know why they haven't put another one on. The Ferrari FF is better than the LA. I don't really think about Ferraris, to be honest, because the chances are Ferrari will never ask me to come and test their cars because I'm not special or I'm not a yes man. You know, I'm very likely to say I don't like the car if I don't like it. So I'm an unknown quantity. And two, they don't need me to sell cars. They don't need you to sell cars. They don't need any journalists to come and sell cars because all they got to do is make one and some idiot out there with way too much money and more sense will go and buy one. That doesn't mean I don't like Ferraris. I do like Ferraris, but I find it quite gross that, you know, a couple of million quid's worth of a car gets more attention than you know, proper news. Very true about English roads. Finding a quiet one and it's now impossible. Another great Sunday service by Aussie in the far side. Thanks, Stuart. Look after yourself, man. Hydroelectric, if done well, doesn't affect the environment badly. Take Wales, for example. We all do it well by. Yes, we do. Yes, hydroelectric is very good. It doesn't necessarily affect the environment, particularly if it is from a lake that already exists. Do you think it's wise to buy a diesel now? In Ireland, I can only advise for Ireland. In Ireland, it'll be fine. Buying a diesel is okay at the moment because there's just so many diesels on the market. But I would advise, depending how long, like how long are you going to hold on to for? 5 years? Not much is going to change in 5 years. But if you're going to look for a car to retire into, then maybe you want to look for something else, petrol or hybrid. Thank you, Boaz DK means a lot. I don't know what that was. What is the shape of roads, of motorways in Ireland? Roads here in North America are only getting worse and worse. Well, they're shite here, to be honest with you. Motorways are okay. Generally, the back roads here are a bit crap. It's very hard to, you know, turn in on a corner knowing that there's going to be a massive pothole in the road. I can't read that, but that is a picture of Saddam Hussein, it looks like. So we'll get rid of you because you look dodgy. Sorry, I'm just people look dodgy. It's very hard to say people look dodgy. I can't actually see them. I must look dodgy from the other end though. Quite disturbing. Berlin terrorist attack. Okay, actually it's quite disturbing that I was in a Berlin terrorist attack a week before it happened and the same place, and I was in Stockholm exactly 1 week before the same place. There might be a connection there, Cleveland. You should stay, whatever city you're in, you should stay in because that's where obviously the next terrorist attack is going to take place. Look, I grew up in Ireland. I grew up during the tail end of what was called the Troubles in Northern Ireland, where places were getting blown up, where being Irish in England was a problem, where, you know, I kind of grew up around this sort of stuff. Terrorism is terrorism. Terrorism, even the word terrorism, even the urgent crisis that we're going through, what they call it, look, it's not what you think it is. A lone person with a truck who may have had some explosives in that truck did something bad in Stockholm. If you take all of the words away, all these terrorism words in crisis, what are you left with? That's what you're left with. A single individual did something really stupid and really selfish and really shitty in Stockholm recently. And the same applies for pretty much every other terrorist attack. And it doesn't matter who claimed responsibility. It is an idiot, a fool, and a dope at the beginning of that caused the problem. So don't be disturbed in here. Keep your head where it should be, which is focused on yourself and focused on the family around you. Talking about the media and cultures, why do you think the government is brainwashing us all and is planning something against the world government is getting richer? I don't think that's happening. I don't think the government is probably not that smart. I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's a government that's that smart in the entire world that could actually plot to do anything useful. And they're pretty useless at keeping secrets as well. So I wouldn't worry about the government doing. Focus on yourself. Keep in your own mind. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with positive thoughts and positive family, and try to keep the head above water. That's all. That's really all you got to do, is to keep yourself moving. Keep your little tight family group working as it is. Are small turbo engines really any better than largely normal aspirated engines? Two different reasons. So turbo. So normally aspirated means that there's no turbo. So when you turn the key, you get a series of explosions that causes compression inside the engine and forces pistons down, which turns a drive shaft, which turns the wheels. That's pretty straightforward. Turbocharging brings the exhaust gases that are going out through the back through the engine through a second rotation of compression that forces more pressure down top of the engine, gives you more power. So they both have their use. Generally, they put turbos into smaller engined cars because that gives them more power, but there's a lag, so the turbo doesn't cut in until the revs get high enough. Naturally aspirated engine gives a surge of power all the way across. There's no kind of cutting in. Both have different reasons. Turbocharged engines tend to be a little bit more fuel efficient than naturally aspirated. Just so you know. But there's not much of a difference, though, to be honest with you. They're not. I wouldn't say one's better than the other. They do different work. Cars not the problem. The infrastructure is the biggest problem. Correct. It is the infrastructure that is the biggest problem that we have with electric cars at the moment, and the way that we run to the petrol station to get fuel every time we just need it, instead of thinking of it as a luxury. Did you experience any software issues when driving the Volvo S90? No. Although I did find a big pad in the middle thing very fiddly for certain jobs, like setting the sat nav, setting destination stuff. There's no haptic feedback, so it's very hard to see if you press the right one. Moderators got been hacked. So okay, well, all right. Let's stop the hacking. Okay, it's okay. Thanks, moderator. Look after yourself. What's your opinion of the Kia Proceed, Bob? I like what Kia does. Kias are neither are Hyundai's really drivers' cars. They've got steering. They never really sort out steering out. They used to have 3 versions of steering and have like medium, soft, and light and things. They got rid of that in favour of kind of one now, but it's still not right. It's still kind of weird. When you turn a corner, turn in, it gets lighter and softer and stuff. They're not really drivers' cars, but they're quite nice to look at. And Proceed is a model here, not an engine. So it's still just a seed with some extra options on it. Should we increase the speed limit on motorways? There are more accidents on the unlimited stretch than the autobahns compared to parts with speed limit. Motorways are by far and away the safest means of transport anywhere in the world, even considering autobahn. The problem with the autobahn is when there's an accident, it tends to be absolutely gigantic because the cars are moving so fast. That is the big problem with the autobahn. So if that's a big problem, you know, unlimited speed doesn't really work. And actually, if you go and drive the autobahn quite regularly, you'll soon find out that the unlimited speed sections are really short. They don't last very long. They tend to be 100 km an hour, 220, 130, and then unlimited for like 5 miles, and then that's it. What's your go-to drink? Red wine, Ross, by the gallon. Last one for me. Isn't the idea of driverless cars driving for themselves pretty scary? Who likes the idea? I love the idea. As long as there's a steering wheel, I love it. The idea of being able to get into a car and go, take me here, and then just go and read a paper or something, that's brilliant. Who wouldn't like that? It's fab. So long as I can drive on the back roads, I'd be okay. The best thing I'd like to do would be, Volvo tested a thing recently called driver train or something, or road train or something like that, where when you get onto a motorway, you got in behind a set of other Volvo cars and just followed along. You didn't have to drive, you followed the car who's following a professional driver. That's genius. I'd love to have automated driving on the motorways, and the rest of the time then drive yourself. It'd be lovely. We have a petrol Renault Capture 141. When should we change it to get the best trade-in value? Generally speaking, most cars do most of their devaluation in the first year, but the problem is we have PCP at the moment, which is guaranteeing the minimum future value of the car, which is now setting the price of all of those cars into the future. And so it doesn't really matter when you trade it in, but if you trade it in now for 172, you're probably going to get the best out of it. After this, it's fairly stable from here on out. 141, 142, 143. Yeah, it's fairly stable from here on out. So you want to be trading in this year or at the beginning of next year. Do Renault, Nissan, DCI engines have a turbo in them, say in a 1.5 DCI Qashqai? I think they do, yes. Direct common rail injection. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's common rail diesel or something, is it? Maybe they don't have a diesel one with a turbo in it. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that one out for you. New World Order, I'm sure government's building a bunker where they could survive 20 nuclear bombs, atom bombs. Look, if a nuclear bomb's going to drop, I'll be happy if I'm under it, right underneath the thing. I'd be okay with that. Bye, Nick. What's, in your view, the best company car under £30,000 right now? Company car. If you want to stand off in a crowd, a Mercedes C-Class. If you want to kind of blend in, it's the Audi A4. I think it'll be about 28 grand for a company. You have to buy them in manual though at that price. Look into the luxury range of things. At the same time, I do quite like some of the Volvo stuff. I don't think the S90 is under 30 grand though somehow. But some of those other kind of rare models would be nicer. Company cars are a strange one to deal with because different tax systems on them as well. The Lynx Lizard says, what do you think of these mass dealers controlling all the brands here in North Dublin? They're controlling second-hand price. Joe Duffy has Mazda, VW, Kia, Range Rover. I know. The problem is no monopoly is looking into this. There's no monopoly. No one's saying that this is a problem because they carry so much power, and they actually carry power over car manufacturers in Ireland as well because they sell so many cars. So it means that the car manufacturers are starting to report to people like Joe Duffy. Now, I haven't had any complaints. I'll say that for you straight off. In that the sales reps are all, the salesmen and women are all on commission, so they don't care. They'll try and sell you the best car. But there is a problem with price control in this country. We do have an issue with it, and because we're an island, we're about to be absolutely shafted if Britain is not part of this conversation. What is Ireland's most popular car, compact, mid-size and large cars? The best-selling car at the moment is a Hyundai Tucson. I think the second best-selling car out of that is either a Ford Focus or a VW Golf. So it's in that range. Tucson is just a unique thing. Now that's when I say selling, that's registrations. I know people will complain. The difference between the two is the car companies can register the cars themselves. But there is an element of sales comes after those registrations. Many people are worried that government does bad. Healthy government wants good for citizens. Companies want your money. That is correct. A government should always be working on behalf of the people, not on behalf of the businesses in the country. But don't forget, behind all the businesses are people. So you have that element as well. But Ireland is a very unique, very strange little place in the Western world as well, because we're an island, but we're actually in the middle of Europe, and there is an element of Ireland looking after a lot of businesses and corporation tax and things. I still do not understand why the hell there is no speed limit on the German autobahns. It's just because Germany is so big after the Second World War, it was such a large place, they decided to build very, very straight sections of roads so they could connect big cities in very short space of time, because the Germans were not allowed to fly planes after the Second World War. And so they had to drive cars. And so they created autobahns and just didn't bother putting a speed limit on them, and have never done it since. Do you think VW got off lightly in the EU regarding the emissions scandal? There was a far harsher across the pond, with VW being forced to buy back defective models. That question comes from Don Dwyer. Yes, they were let off incredibly lightly, and still being let off incredibly lightly in this country and in Europe in general. But Angela Merkel and the German government basically bailed out the entire of Europe, and Volkswagen will be one of their biggest employers. And the chances of the EU ruling against Germany on any of this sort of thing will be very unlikely. But we'll see how it pans out, because it's still ongoing. Thanks very much for Sunday service, Bob. Hope you have a great day. Cheers, Drive Logic. Subscribed. You seem very well knowing person, especially about cars. I hope you do live streams often. Every Sunday, Chameleon Miller so far. And the last time I tried to cancel this, I got letters of complaint saying I wasn't allowed to cancel this. That people listen to me like I'm reading radio. I actually got that 3 times in 1 week. A fella said he listened to Never watched a video of mine before, ever, but listens to the Sunday service as like a podcast. Do you know Brian Byrne? Yes, I do. He's a local journalist here in Kilcullen, does good reviews. I know Brian very well. I've been away many times with Brian on the trips. He does Irish Car and Travel. He was having Trish Whelan and all of them for years. Also a publican, used to be a publican once upon a time, owned a pub in Kilcullen. I'm a Kildare man, I'm from Kildare town, so we know each other pretty well. Do you have any classic cars that we'd be interested in owning? No. Every time I try and decide, every time I go onto something like Dundee or something, I start looking down classic cars and go, I want that. There'll be loads that I want. The problem is money, obviously, trying to own something. And currently I'm unemployed, so that's the way it is. Like, I don't have a full-time job. But the loads that I'd be interested in owning, anything that survives, I'm always interested in owning. That's simple as that. The more fun it is, the better. I'm happy about it. Thanks for your Sunday talk. Speaking of great day, my friend. I hope you have a work channel, hopefully. Thanks very much, Mr. Instrumentals. Column F says, please explain CO2 per kilometres. It's just the burnt emissions, or does it include the amount of power to produce the fuel as well? It is just what comes out of the exhaust pipe column. So as you drive along, if it can be tons of CO2 that's coming out of the back per ton. So it's what comes out of the exhaust pipe. That's the way it's supposed to be measured. You're supposed to put a big probe up the exhaust and it measures the amount of CO2 that passes by. That is why the CO2 emission scandal thing happened in the US, because when it's on a rolling road, it was able to produce less CO2 than on a motorway. But it's just what comes out of the exhaust, yeah. How come all the fuss about VW cheating on emissions, yet no complaints over the fact that every manufacturer's MPG claims are massively exaggerated? Massively exaggerated is correct, but there have been years of complaints about massive exaggeration. Been loads of investigations about the exaggerated claims of CO2, but fuel economy from the back of the car. But it was always a given that whatever was written down, 50 miles per gallon, you probably got like 30. So it was always like the assumed one. But nobody really cared about CO2 emissions. They only cared about how much tax they had to pay. And that's why there was such a crib and cry about the thing, because the car should have actually been cheaper with lower CO2. Why did the government put 1 and 2 on new reg like 131 and 132? I think looks stupid. You are absolutely right, Stephen. And I said against this 131, 132, but to put it in context, so what used to happen was, this came from dealers. It was the SIMI who drove this, which is the Society of Motor Industry Ireland or something. They're a representative body. They represent motor dealers to the government. That's what the SIMI do. They don't work on your behalf. They're paid by dealers to represent themselves in the government. So they're a lobbyist group in essence. And so what they wanted to do was, because dealers in December were trying to get all of their cars in, because they were all going to be sold in January, February and March. That's what really happened. So January, February, March, dealers were flooded. Everybody wanted a brand new car, so they wanted a 2012 car, and they bought it then. They thought they could split the year up so they'd have a second registration point a year, and the UK have done this for years, but it didn't really work. Still, most people buy things at the beginning of the year. My God, I'm falling so far behind with the questions. I'm so sorry. I'm catching up on everybody. I'm getting there. There's just so many questions today. So many people involved in this. Did you ever make a driving tour on the Ring of Kerry, West Ireland? It's a dream. I'd love to, yeah, but you got to kind of plan things like that. I've been around the Ring of Kerry loads of times. We went there in California a couple of years ago. And I've done it in cars as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful area to go. But if you're going to make a sort of a video of it, you want a drone and you want a couple of cars with you to kind of drive car-to-car stuff. So I'd love to do it, but it requires a lot of money. You can support me on Patreon. Click on the Patreon thing there. Patreon.com/the next gear if you want to support me. So many of you are already doing it. It's very good. I think it was $68 or something we get now as it is. I'd love a couple of grand, which would be great to be able to push it into camera gear, and hiring camera people, which would be brilliant as well. But subscribe and click the thumbs up thing there. It's on the top of my screen, but it might be on the bottom of your screen. But subscribe. Don't forget to do that as well. Very important that you subscribe and watch the ads and things. Money. It's all about that. Why nobody talks about LPG as an alternative fuel? It's cheap. It's cleaner, easier to convert to existing cars. It's been going on for years. Taxis went to LPG for years, but the problem was you had to put another fuel tank in the car in the boot, so you lost a ton of boot space. But I have no problem with LPG. It's a very good thing. Somebody's going out to watch the Chinese Grand Prix that he recorded. Don't anyone tell Ross who won the Chinese Grand Prix. He's going to have to watch it now. You look a little like Johnny Knoxville. I hope a young Johnny Knoxville, not a current Johnny Knoxville who looks like he's been pulled backwards through a hedge with drugs up his nose. You got one moldy banana in your bowl. That's not mouldy. That's perfectly good. It's just yellow. It's ripe. Like, that'd be lovely and soft. We do have some green ones as well, though. Look, they're green. Always buy green bananas when you're buying bananas, right? Thanks. I'm glad there's more moldy bananas in the bowl. Have you heard of him? Heard of who? Cheers, Bob. Now on to my second Sunday chat. I'll be back Sunday. I love this concept. Thanks very much, David. David from Canada. Well done. No problem at all, Aaron. I'll give my time over Sunday service. Are we going 2 hours yet? No, 1.5 hours so far. We've got a half an hour at least left. For God's sake, like, you wimps giving up halfway through. You've got no stamina. You are correct. In the USA, company rights have gone too far, though, which is bad for people, but they had a relationship with the best. In the USA, there is lobbyists, which means they can literally pay money to the politicians and they don't have to declare it, which is weird. I don't know how you all get away with that one. Wild. That can happen here in the in Ireland as well, in the UK, but there's you can check to see who's got donations and who hasn't. What is the one thing you would change about my government? In this country, the one thing I'd change about my government would be that they should be more responsible to the people. Often, something goes wrong, someone in the government is blamed, and no one loses their job. No one gets fired. No one nowhere. I find that just ridiculous. So I could go get myself elected to the government, do a job for 4 years, and then I don't get re-elected. But for that 4 years, I'm unimpeachable. I can't be gotten rid of. I don't understand that at all. My mate is mad for green banana. He's on the register. I'm not surprised, John. Green banana is very nice if you're making stuff. So I make, if you get, for breakfast, this is a really good breakfast. So get pen and paper. You ready? Ready? Here's a really good breakfast for you. Get porridge oats, like Flavin's porridge oats, which are no relation to mine. I wish they were, because they could go and sponsor this. That'd be a good idea. There's a sponsor I could go and talk to. Flavin's porridge oats. But anyway, so get porridge oats and get a little scoop and scoop up maybe 4 or 5 scoops into a big bowl, right? So at least 4 or 5 scoops of porridge oats. Get apple juice, get not from concentrated apple juice, and put it into the bowl along with it. Fill it up so you can see liquid over the top of the porridge oats. Cover it with cling film, leave it overnight. Tomorrow morning, get banana, blueberry, mango and honey, put it into a bowl and eat that stuff raw. It's the nicest breakfast ever. I love the stuff. It's a German thing to pour apple juice into porridge oats, but it's gorgeous. Rover 600 Turbo, opinions, be gentle. Oh, I love Rovers. I know you're probably all going to go mad now, but I actually really like Rovers. Rovers are cool all over again, even though they will definitely break down and bits of them will fall off as you're driving on the road. But they're still really good. Great engines in those 600s, especially if you can go a little further back and get rid of the turbo out of it. There's a 3.6 litre V6 that Rover used to do, and it was a glorious engine. Might blow up, but glorious all the same. Do you guys eat Mexican food over there? Are you a fan? Yes, Carlos, we certainly do eat Mexican food. We eat all kinds of wraps and fajitas and everything else. Actually, that might be a nice idea for Sunday dinner, fajitas. But yes, we do eat a lot of Mexican. We have some Mexican restaurants as well. All we do is more authentic Mexican stuff. Are the days of diesel cars numbered in large cities? High emissions issues? Yes, Eric. Paris is already banning diesel cars from coming into Paris city centre. Berlin looks like it's probably going to go the same way. The problem is that CO2 and everything else comes out with diesel is heavy particle stuff. It falls on the ground behind the cars. It was supposed to blow away, but it doesn't blow away. It just goes up the sides of the buildings and comes back down to the streets again and just pollutes the place. If you walk around with a white hanky over your face for the day and just breathe in and breathe out as you do normally, at the end of the day you'll see it's all black. The Lynx Lizard says, nice Sunday service out to watch the Masters. Is that golfists? Is that what the Masters is? People playing golf? What are you making for dinner tonight? I don't know, Aaron. Suggestions, please? Leave them in the comments. Give me a suggestion for dinner tonight. I don't know. I might do fajitas. I kind of like the idea of doing fajitas tonight. Here's one. What would be a good car to buy right now? I drive 15,000 kilometers or miles per annum. Pat Lydon, I assume you're Irish. Petrol or diesel? 15,000 kilometers not enough for a diesel. Buy a petrol. Definitely buy a petrol car. Have you ever watched a fully charged show on YouTube? I do. Bobby Llewellyn, I've met him a couple of times on, I can't remember what the trip was. I met him, I had a great chat about electric cars. Unfortunately, Bobby knows an awful lot about electrics and probably not enough about cars. But that's okay. He is not a car nut per se. He's just showing that there's an alternative to energy out there. It works in the UK. Some of the stuff he talks about doesn't quite work in Ireland because we just don't have that infrastructure. But it's coming. If we demand it, it will be built. But yes, Bobby Llewellyn does have. Do you ever see his Patreon account? Could I have half of what he gets, please? It'd be lovely. Patreon.com/the next gear. But I do like Bobby Llewellyn. Yeah, he's deadly. Bob, what can you tell us about Irish women? I have one, a wife, and I have 2 daughters. Did that help? Irish women are. You know what's great about Irish women? What's funny about Irish women is that they dress up to the nines, beautiful dress, beautiful things. You go, that's what you're wearing is lovely, and they go, oh right, this whole thing I bought it in pennies. It's like they always cheapen everything. It's kind of funny. Irish women are gorgeous. Worldwide, they're hailed as the most beautiful women in the world. So there you go. EU also has lobbyists, unfortunately, that are checking the system of yours. Sounds great. But that checking system of yours, yes, it should be there. Absolutely, should be there. Favorite food, as long as it's made in this house, the way we make things with love, definitely. Whatever's made here is fine. But if I had to pick one, I'd go with lasagna. Or I love pie things, so like shepherd's pie, lasagna, anything that's kind of like a pie, it's good. That's Bircher muesli. There you go. You see, Ronan Smith has it started. Bircher muesli. That's the porridge oats into the thing with apple juice over the top of it, and then stick in a pile of fruit on top of that. A spit roast. That'd be a good idea. Only I don't have a thing to do with spit. Would you consider becoming an editor again, like you did with the Independent? Yeah, I would. I would. Not for a motor section. I don't think there would be one in Ireland who needs an editor for a motor section again. It's quite cool being the editor of an area, but it's a lot of work. It's a hell of a lot of work. But I would do it again, of course I would. Yeah. If I come to Ireland, would you host? No. Bye, Bob. Enjoyed the show. Sorry I couldn't stay. Keep up the entertaining work. See you, David. Hello, friends. Made you smile. I'll tell you why I wouldn't host, because I have a busy house. We are busy bees here the whole time, always trying to run and hustle, and now I'm even hustling far more than I was hustled before, simply because I don't have a full-time job anymore, which is great. I've given that up to be a YouTuber. Isn't that wonderful? In order, how could you place perfect roads, free maintenance, and world peace? How would you place perfect roads, free maintenance, and world peace? I'd go with free maintenance, perfect roads, and world peace, because there's no chance of ever having world peace, so you just leave that to last. What was the Leinster leader like to work for? I only worked for them freelance, so I only sent in stuff. I never really went to the office all that much. They got sold and got sold again and then got sold again, and made it very difficult for Leinster Express and Leinster Leader Group and stuff to kind of to make time and make they've been taken over again as new editor up there now, as far as I know, so they're doing motoring, but they're downloading it off the internet. So there's a lot to go through when it comes to what they're doing in Leinster Leader and Leinster Express. But it's all about jobs, it's all about trying to make money. That's the problem. Here, dear friends, how to subscribe to my channel? How about you subscribe to me? Make you smile. How do you come to my live stream? You know, 1.5 hours into my live stream, and you come here and ask for subscribers on your channel. Give me a break, could you? Hi, says Mean Shop. Hi. Is PCP a mugs game? No, it's not, John. It's the best system we've had since hire purchase, but it is a financial arrangement between you and the car company. If they can find a way to make it difficult for you to get everything you're owed, they will. It is their job. They're not in business to make friends or to make you happy. They're in business to make money. And so guard yourself. If you can buy a car for cash, then buy a car for cash. If you can buy a car through a nice loan from the credit union or from the bank, then you know that's your way to go. If you can get PCP, then PCP might be the best way to do it. PCP is only good if you're going to change your car every 5 years. Have you ever used Dent Pro or heard good or bad things about it? Dent Pro, is that someone that comes around to your house and pulls a dent out of a car? Yeah, in that case I have used Dent Pro. They did a great job down the side of my Leon when someone opened the door and left a little bang on it. Very good. Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk and as he inspired and influenced you? No, I do know who he is. I've never actually watched the video, I have to say, but I've heard a lot of people talk about him. I have watched Casey Neistat videos, which are very, very good, very high quality, but he has plenty of money and time to do it with. So yeah, I've seen something again. He was in Ireland at some point. Some people have gone on about him. I haven't really watched his. He's meant to be an inspirational dude. Casey Neistat would have a bigger influence over how I shoot than the content that's here at the moment. Great show, Bob. Enjoying immensely. Thank you, Ricky. Miguel, really, you're just here for the crack, man. You know, there's no point in saying that sort of stuff. You just get yourself banned. It's useless. Can you just send articles, newspapers, or do you have to be well known? What's your experience sending articles in? Do you know what, Footy Ferrari? What happens is people write an article for free, send it to the newspaper, never get paid. And then people like me can't get paid because everyone's doing it for free. And how do you make a living at something you love when everyone around you does it for free? Charge money. At least, look, if you send in an article and you said, if you want to publish this article, pay me €50. At least then I can compete. If you send an article and say, publish this article, it's free. How do I compete with that? I have to write better, but I still have to write for free. I have a mortgage and a house and things and stuff. You can't do that. It's just not possible. But yes, basically send in your articles and they might or might not publish them. A lot of places have a deal already, so they've already got somebody writing stuff. I'm going to a cocktail party next week. How would you dress for that? Are you a man, Betty? Yeah, I hope so. Black tie cocktail party, if you're going, definitely. If you can't do black tie, a great thing to do is to go along to a party in black tie, even when you know no one else is coming in black tie. You know, it really like messes with people's heads. But yeah, cocktail party, black tie should be definitely. Hi Bob, probably your best show yet. Thanks very much, John. What do you have lined up for your YouTube channel this week coming? So on the way is the Kia Rio, which will be tomorrow, that's the week drive. So that's the one I'm getting for the whole week. I might book another second car in for next week because I have some time in my hands next week. So I might do 2 cars next week. Skoda Kodiaq is on Monday. That's tomorrow. That's being launched. I'm going to try and get along to that launch if I can. It's very hard to squeeze that into the day because there's a point where I have to swap over cars. And the kids are off school here as well. And I want to spend some time with my family, my first week off, and I don't know how long. And also next week will be a Lancia Beta, which I'll be picking up and having a drive in, which is an 80s or 79 car, something like that. Make you smile, team. You know what? Make you smile. You're not listening. You're just not listening to me. What do you think of BMW? In Eastern Europe, people love the car, but in other countries, it's not that popular. Maybe because Slavs love BMW. I don't know. I often find BMW gets an awful lot of attention from foreign national people who live here. They often will come outside the front door here to ask what they're supposed to do with the BMW. So BMW does well, yeah. I like BMW. I don't really have a problem with BMW. I think they make some great cars. Definitely make some plums as well, but they make some great cars. Are there minorities in Ireland? Carlos, there are minorities in every single country in the world, not just in Ireland. Yes, of course we have minorities like everywhere else. Rear wheel drive is fun. It's not dangerous by any means. If you know how to drive a rear wheel drive, it's not dangerous. But it's most fun out of any of the cars you can have is rear wheel drive. What's your view on BMW going front wheel drive on the next 1 Series? It's already happened. What was that, 2 Series Active Tours front wheel drive? The 1 Series is front wheel drive. Almost all the other cars come with a 4-wheel drive, which is called X drive. So I don't really have a problem with it, but I think they're losing their way because the big thing that they would have had over Audi was that they had rear wheel drive. That was the big difference. So if I put a 5 Series and an Audi A6 beside each other, I used to say that the Audi A6 in front wheel drive, buy a 5 Series rear wheel drive, but buy a Quattro Audi A6. So if that's what your thing is, then that's great. But if they're going to go all front wheel drive, they've got a problem. Bentley drivers are in the minority. You're right there, Bob. They are. Bentley drivers are definitely a minority in Ireland. Bob, I lost my Thunderbolt to 3.5mm adapter for my car, and I have to drive to Kerry tomorrow with no music. I have Fred West kids. I know how you feel, John. Did you know you can go to Halfords and buy a replacement stereo that has a Bluetooth connector on it, so you can play it by Bluetooth streaming directly from your phone? And not just Halfords, other places are available, but Halfords is one of the places that you can buy that. Kia Rio, yeah, Kia Skoda Kodiaq. I know Skoda Kodiaq might not be very excited, but Kia Rio should be good fun. Next Taoiseach, Simon Coveney or Leo Varadkar or someone else. I think it'll be Leo Varadkar. I would imagine he's been priming himself to be Taoiseach for quite some time. Plus it looks good politically, right? So just take your hat off for a second and just think politically it looks good to have a gay Taoiseach. I know, I don't really think of it that way, but he will. I have subscribed. When's the best time to reach you? Just send me an email through YouTube, or go to patreon.com/nextgear, subscribe there, and you got it sorted. Hi Bob, any word available CarNet? I don't have any word for you in that. I forget about that. I must come back to that. Bob, do you have an email? Yes, bobflav@thenextgear.com. Everybody knows that one. You can also send money by what do you call that thing? PayPal through that email address. bobflav@thenextgear.com. Does your wife get mad at you when you spend a lot of time on YouTube? I know my wife would be telling me off and telling me no. No, not really. She watches a lot of TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't really watch television that much. I like Ant and Dec. I like really bland TV. The more bland, the better. Because I always look at television, a series, and I go, God, that editor's crap. Why is it cut like that? Why did the director film like that? Because I make movies as well. Thoughts on the new Suzuki Ignis? I like the look of that thing. Nice looking front head, but not so nice in the rear. Yeah, but it's a really pretty little car, and I like Suzuki. I have a very soft spot for Suzuki. They have a new Swift coming as well, by the way, but the Ignis is quite a nice looking thing. Mike McCardle, if you could wish yourself from destination, would you miss driving? Would you drive anyway? Ooh. If it was a long destination, I'd miss travelling more than driving. That would be the big difference. Would be the travel. I kind of like traveling. You know, when I go on an international trip, if you look at my channel, there's loads of them. You know, where I go to Barcelona, or Spain, or France, or America, or wherever. I kind of like the bit where we're going to somewhere, and I don't really like getting there. This is kind of weird. I like the travel bit. I like being up in the air. Coke or Pepsi, Cheetos or Takis? None of them. I do not drink Coke or Pepsi or any fizzy drinks. Actually, I do drink fizzy water every once in a while, which is this. But I don't drink Coke or Pepsi. I think it makes you fat. Oh, pardon me. McDonald's or Burger King? Burger King have better chips. No. Burger King. Burger King would be the one. Chips and burgers would be better there than McDonald's. But we very rarely eat that stuff these days. Currently driving a Swift, loving it so far. Yeah, Swift is actually quite nice. I quite like the Swifts. Do you know when a new Ford Fiesta is coming to Ireland? Is there a new Ford Fiesta? I forget. Would that be later on this year? I don't know. Ford are doing 100 years this time, going crazy at it. So yeah. Do you watch Matt Watson's review? He was with Carbar, now he's doing it with CarWow. Yeah, CarWow is not a great name, does it? I mean, it's just not. Just the name of it. But yeah, I do watch some of Matt Watson's stuff. Only if I've driven the car before, because Matt and myself have we can be quite similar in our tastes and quite similar in our approach to reviews. So when we review a car, it can sound like we've been watching one another and then reviewing the car. So and so only if I've driven it and reviewed it do I look at Matt Watson stuff, because he would influence me very quickly. He'd see something in a car and go, I don't like this, or I do like this, and then I go and go, God, I didn't see that. So it ends up being that way. Thanks, Carlos. Drive into the ground or get a new yoke? Drive into the ground, John. I would usually. It's lovely having a brand new car, but if you bought a brand new car, I bought a brand new car in 2006. I still own it. It's outside the door, right? And it's 11 years old now. But because it never gives me any problem, I just prefer to leave it alone and not be selling it. Even though it's costing us a fortune on tax, and I could get something newer that would be cheaper on tax, it's just no trouble, you know. And so, to some degree, driving a car forever is probably the best way of doing it. But driving a car, you know, a new car every 2 years is environmentally unsound as well, because it make all that new stuff all of the time. How long are we going for now? Nearly 2 hours. An hour and 45 minutes. And I haven't moved. And the phone hasn't complained of being out of power yet. That's good crack. Still 55 of you watching. I don't know what. I went over 100 there for a little bit concurrent at one point, which is pretty cool. What's all these little buttons on the bottom of the screen? What's that do? Oh, look at that. Hold on. I can do things to myself somehow. I can change the colour. Look at the colours. Hey, that's weird. Oh my God. That'd make you sick. Look at that. Is that happening all on your screens as well? Because it's happening on mine, that's for sure. Get rid of that thing there. Favourite YouTuber? I don't know. Casey Neistat. I always default to him for some reason, because even though he bores the crap out of me sometimes, he's still a big influence on everyone, on the way we approach YouTube, even the way we edit and the way we change things. Thinking of buying a Fiat 500X next year. That's a good car, Fiat 500X. No problem with that. It's a really nice car. Also look up the Jeep Cherokee. Is it called Cherokee or Jeep? No, Renegade. Jeep Renegade. Look up the Jeep Renegade. It's the same car underneath, but just it's a cute little thing. I know you use filters to look younger. I do, yeah. I just realised the filters are even here. I didn't even notice it. There's a little section at the bottom of the screen. What's that little text one do? Show none. Chat viewing options. Oh, I can turn off the chat. Right. What's your view on F1 GP this year? Better, worse, same? It lost me years ago, Valdez. It lost me a long time. That's the problem for F1. It never really recovered to where it used to be when it had people like Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine and those kind of people. Yeah, just never really got back going again. It might be too little too late. It's still going well, but we'll see what happens over the rest of this season, whether we're actually going to end up with the same. As always with F1, the more money that's spent, the more chance you have of winning. And it's still the same, no matter what you do with the rules. It'll get there. Thanks, John Brennan. Good man, Bob. Love your Sunday service. Keep up the good work from Alan Harmon. Thank you very much. Suzuki Jimny. I like Jimny. Don't slag off that Jimny. I quite like the Jimny. It's alright. When do you think Top Gear will approach you to host? I actually think it's going to be a great addition. I don't know. They've never approached me to host before. I didn't enter the last time they were going to hire someone off the internet as well. I don't know. I doubt they're ever going to. Why would they get an Irish lad to go over there and start hosting Top Gear? Like, even though I'm a better presenter than a whole lot of them. Now, right, Chris Harris. I like Autofugal for in-depth reviews. I'm really interested in the car. Admittedly, I tend to prefer the shorter stuff guys like yourself put out. I don't watch Autofugal because I don't speak German, so that's a problem straight off. But I do know to buy some Autofugal. I've met them a few times on international trips. Do you know if CarZone know the difference between an ad and a car review? No, I don't need to do it, John. Look, someone's making money out of making CarZone reviews, and I'm sure that they'll be fine. But the problem I have for most publications is instead of looking in the current pool of people who are reviewing cars and see if there's something that they can do with the current group of people out there, they tend to go and find somebody brand new and bring them in because they know that they can say, you're going to have to be nice about all these cars. You're going to be good about this car. You're going to say this car is good, this car is bad. Don't upset the advertisers. They're afraid of bringing in current crop of motoring journalists because motoring journalists have an opinion. And so I'm more of a fan of if you have a big publication or a publication of any size and you want to get a motoring review section of it or you want people to talk about cars, look at the current crop. I'm not talking about trying to get it out for me, but look at the current crop of what's already out there and already working and see if there's some way you can work it in that group of people can provide you with the content you're looking for. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't think about advertisers. Just get on with it. Do you know of any good amphibious cars at a range of 10k euro? I'd love to go fishing one of those. There is a. That's truly Top Gear did get an American. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't slag off. Irish people being on TV. Plenty of Irish people are already on television. I don't know if Top Gear really is where I want to be or where they want me to be either. Amphibious cars. You could build one if you wanted. Why am I still watching this at 12:48 a.m? Because this is what happens. This is why when I said it last week I might not do this anymore. It was like, no, you have to keep doing it because I listen to you like a radio. It's weird. New Top Gear, old Top Gear. Old Top Gear, Alan. Absolutely. I tell you what you do. When you finish watching me and subscribing and give me money on Patreon, Patreon / the next gear, look up Top Gear best clips or Top Gear the best clips on Top Gear, right? And look them up. And look for the old ones. Because all it does is show you the funny things. And it's absolutely cringely funny. It's deadly. Old Top Gear. New Top Gear is, new Top Gear is okay. They're finding their way. But they really need an injection in the arm. Which means they need to come and talk to me. Autofugal have English channel worth watching. Do they? I didn't know they did in English as well. Mondeo 2 litre 210 TDCi or 2 litre 240 SCC in terms of comfort. They're going to be the same. The difference between them will be a seat when it comes to comfort. The 2 litre TDCi is going to be more comfortable. 210 horsepower is going to be more than enough for you as well, so I'll be fine. Is there a place for a normal car review show like Top Gear from the 80s? No. Yes, there is, Ronan. There is room for a place from the way the 80s work, but we need to. The problem is a very specialised audience. And everybody goes, Top Gear was insanely successful, let's do it like Top Gear. And so everybody looks like Top Gear now. That's the problem. Do you like Aston Martins? Yes, I drove an Aston Martin for a whole week once upon a time, an Aston Martin DB9 for Cannonball. That Eddie Jordan guy from Dublin is making a rounds on Top Gear's latest season. I guess the money can buy you anything. Yeah, well, he used to run a Formula 1 team as well. So he's an idiot. And I've met him a couple of times. But he's an idiot who knows how to use contacts properly, and that's my problem. I don't know how to use contacts or how to get out there to get things done. You have to drive across America, Keira Knightley or Katie Hopkins for a co-driver. I don't like Keira Knightley. No, I don't like Keira Knightley. So it has to be Katie Hopkins. Who's Katie Hopkins? Oh, wait now, Katie Hopkins. No, hang on a second. No, Keira Knightley. Thanks for saying. I know who Katie Hopkins is now. It just reminded me who Katie. I'd forgotten who she is because she's such a vapid waste of humanity that ever existed in the world. So I completely forgotten who Katie Hopkins was. Keira Knightley, please. Have you ever watched Fifth Gear? Yeah, I liked Fifth Gear. I drove with Tiffany Dell once upon a time. He never stopped talking, which is weird. But he's very nice. He was a very nice man. But I did drive with him. And I drove with Ben Collins. And I drove with that drift guy as well. What's the American drift guy? I don't know his name. The guy that does he just drifts all the time. That's all he seems to do. Jim Kana, that guy. Fifth Gear used to be pretty good. Problem was they had too many presenters. Ken Block, that's the dude. Richard, yeah, I drove with him as well, and we drifted. It wasn't very entertaining. It's all right, but Tiff was fun. Tiff was fun. Ben Collins is very posh. But he was nice enough. Yeah, he was all right, but he was really, really posh. The problem with meeting famous people is that they all think they're more famous than you, which is funny. It's especially funny when you're standing beside someone who says that they're famous, and someone walks up and says to me that they watch my YouTube channel, and then they don't know who the other person is. That's always kind of funny. Yeah, funny to be YouTube famous and not be TV famous, which is a different kind of famous. Okay, I think that kind of wraps up the. We're here at the 2 hour mark. See, 2 hours of questions. It just goes by so quickly. Listen, please, if you can, give money on Patreon. Patreon.com/the next gear. It is being used right now. The money that you've given already to me is already being used. The money that came in from the other version as well, which is PayPal, paypal.com, and you can give to Bob Flavin at thenextgear.com. That is being used as well. I'm trying to put everything together into one absolute goal, and we'll try and make the best we can out of this channel, try and improve everything. Hit rate is going up. It's great crack, and it's been good fun, and I'm starting to get recognised more in the streets, and people are asking to be in a vlog and all sorts of things going on as well. It's great crack, right? I'll keep it up as long as I possibly can. I am currently looking for a channel sponsor as well. If you're interested in sponsoring the whole channel, you can't be a car company, but you can be a tire company or a windscreen company or an insurance company or a bank or whatever you want. I'd be delighted to entertain your ideas about sponsorship of the channel. But until the next time, I will see you all on the far side of Sunday. Enjoy! See you next week.